I'm gonna tell my brother this.
Welcome
Hey.
back. Welcome back.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? We start like a little late today because we're doing everything later today since we have
Yes,
special guests coming on.
we do. We
We,
do.
we hope, we hope, we hope. I gotta send out a reminder. Oh, she's calling me now, as a matter of fact. I'm gonna mute myself and you go ahead and talk, co-host.
All right. Well, thank you back all for coming in. Welcome back to our channel. If you are on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe, and share this broadcast on Facebook. We appreciate you. So we are coming back after having a guest last week. We have a new guest this week. As you know, there's elections going on in I think about 6 cities. I think it's Coconut Creek, Miramar, North Lauderdale. Oh gosh, I can't remember all of them, but I'm going to get them, and I'll before the publication is our show is over, we'll let you know which ones are. March 13th is election day. There is no early
March 14th.
March 14th. Thank you. There's no early voting. There's straight voting in your city at your precinct. So make sure you get cards, and remember that this year started where you had to send out and request your mail-in ballots all over again. So if you haven't done that, I think there's a deadline. I want to say for this particular election. I think the deadline is this week. I want to say, but don't quote me. Please go to the Broward SOE website so you can get those dates and times. And we look forward to a robust election in those 6 cities. And we wish all of you luck. And if you haven't had an opportunity and you're still thinking about who you want to vote for, make sure you look up those candidates in your city websites. They should have that information. And you can learn a little bit about those who are wanting to represent you in the local level. Okay, so last week we had a board member on. I think we asked the questions that all community members had questions about. We feel that these questions should have been these questions were asked because the community wanted to hear them. We think that for us, we try to give our community as much information as possible. And we appreciate Mr. Holness coming and sitting with us and having a conversation with us, as we appreciate all our guests. And we'll continue to bring information, continue to get you all galvanized, get you all involved in the political process, because once Sandra and I start talking, all over the country, there's a lot of really ridiculous things going on. And you have a hand at making the difference of having someone in legislation making erroneous bills, and then have people who really make bills to help people. So
it's just a matter of we really seeing in real time that elections have consequences, right?
Very
so the fact that, even when people are like, well, I'm not going to vote, when you decide not to vote, you're actually empowering somebody else and the people who are voting. And sometimes the individual that they decide to vote for is not the better choice. We're seeing all types of things happen, throughout the United States. In Jackson, Mississippi, the electeds there just decided that because I think the city is about 75 or 80% black. Most elected officials there, the judges, all of them are black folk. They ain't like it. So they passed some laws that allow them to appoint, non-black folks to the bench, the commission, and everything. And that's not the way, that's really not the way the American system is. If you think you can win, even the white folks, just convince black people to vote for you. They will. Black people vote for white people all the time. So why you gotta go bulldoze your way in? Just go give them a reason to vote for you and they'll vote for you. But no. That's not what they decided to do. They decided to go ahead and pass legislation to allow that to happen. And then we see what happening in friggin' Florida with the governor that we had. Every time you turn around, he's doing something that's not necessarily the will of the people. Rent's too high, mortgage too high, property insurance too high, food is too high, and the roads are messed up. You would think he would spend his time focusing on those issues, but no, he wants to have culture wars and have people pass legislation to say that, they're going to get rid of Democrats and make them all NPAs and all of that type of stuff. So, I mean, really, elections have consequences. If you didn't know that before, you should really know that now. And we need to take our right to vote a lot more seriously and just do better. Just do better because we deserve better.
We all deserve better, and it's not difficult to be part of the process, right, Sandra? It's not difficult to say, hey, I'm going to go out here and stand online and vote. It's not difficult for you to question people who are vying for your vote. It's not difficult for you to get your friends, family, and tell them this is how important this is. Because I'm telling you, if your vote did not matter, they would be working so hard to make it difficult for you to use that superpower that you have. And I consider it a superpower. At the end of the day, elections have consequences, as Sandra said, and we are in direct fire of line of fire because we have a supermajority in Florida, and they're proposing so many outrageous legislation that has no problem getting passed because they are a supermajority.
They can do whatever they want. Whatever kind of crazy they want to do, they can do.
And when we say they can do whatever we want, we literally mean that in the words. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah. Now, so yes, they can do whatever they want. That doesn't mean that there's not a process in place where you can contest it, right? So you can litigate. They can pass some laws, and then you can litigate to see whether or not what they're saying is constitutional or not. I mean, we do have a conservative court in Florida and a conservative court in the United States. The United States Supreme Court, but that still doesn't mean that some of these things shouldn't be challenged. Like what they're doing with African American history about getting rid of diversity and inclusion offices and all of that. I don't think that should stand. I think those issues should be litigated, and people should be willing to go ahead and litigate. Unfortunately, that's not happening on the scale that it could. And I think the reason why they're feeling DeSantis and the Republicans in Tallahassee are feeling more empowered to get even more and more bizarre and outrageous with what it is that they're doing is because nobody is litigating any of the stuff that they're doing, right? You know how there's this thing I remember, and don't ask me I heard it when I was growing up. They come for the white person and nobody said nothing. They come for the black person, nobody said nothing. They come for the Asian person, nobody said nothing. At some point, they're gonna be coming for you too. Okay, so we can't just continue to stand aside and to let other communities get attacked and not say or do anything about it and think that you're okay. I mean, I got some stories that I can tell, but I don't want to do that. But my point is that we just can't stand back and watch other communities get attacked. It's unwarranted. It's not warranted. You understand? And just not say anything, but well, they ain't bothering me, so I ain't bothering them. No, at some point they're gonna bother you too. Okay, so and please understand that. Or there's gonna be an issue that's gonna have an impact on you, and there ain't gonna be nobody else to stand on your side or stand behind you and have your back, because everybody else is effed up, and the only people that are left standing is the one that want to continue to take your rights away from you. So please don't this is a lot more serious than people think. This is how, some of the stuff from the 1940s happened. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to get nobody to say I'm comparing apples to oranges or whatever, but this is how it starts. This is how you end up with dictators.
And I'm confident that our community will continue to fight. That's all we know is how to fight. We come out the gate fighting. We've always, it's always been a thing. I know some of us get tired and frustrated. I know some of us are weary, but I also know that we are a people that is a strong, resilient people, and we're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue, even though there's a supermajority, doesn't necessarily mean we still can't make an impact.
Just litigate and just drive Ashley Moody crazy. That's the Attorney General of the state of Florida. Yep. Keep her butt in court, and then she gonna go have a talk with him. Listen, this is not sustainable. We can't continue this litigation. It's costing the state too much. Just do it. Continue to just litigate the issue, and she gonna go tell homeboy, yeah, nah, this ain't gonna work. But if everybody's standing aside trying to figure out how they gonna allow the nonsense to continue, then the nonsense will continue.
Absolutely. So I'm aware, and I know you are too, that a lot of people are going up to Tallahassee because I think there's a Tallahassee week and everybody shows up there. And I'm aware of school board members going up there too. I'm hoping that when they do go up there, they are advocating for African American.
Will they go?
They are supposed to. They can.
Okay.
The point is they can. The question is, will they? Will they? Is the question. but they can't, because they're not only there to govern the school district, but they're also there to advocate.
For
And
curriculum, I
they're
thought they're going over there for teacher pay.
all I'm saying is that if they go up there and the only thing they're focusing on teacher pay, and they're not focusing on the education as well, that piece as well, that therein lies your answer for when it's time for them to run for office again. Just my point. Because they are there, that they're supposed to advocate. They're not only supposed to advocate for teachers, but they're supposed to advocate for education.
Okay.
The main reason the teachers have a job is because of education. The whole
yeah. What you teaching? I heard they taking the books out the classroom, and like they going to the library.
You're banning books. You're having media issues. You're having I mean, the governor's taking it so far where he's even saying that AP needs to go away. This is how it is, and the sad part about it is education on all fronts in all states are at the bottom of the totem pole. They get the less money. Nobody really put effort into education, or whatever the case is. But that is the job of a school board member. Your job is to.
When you said the thing about the governor and the AP, let me tell you. So I went to a school that was highly ranked when I went to undergrad. They ain't had enough AP in the schools I went to. Like I was like, you took AP what? Like that's a class? Like we don't get taught enough stuff in the schools in Florida. Let alone they trying to take that. And one of the things is that typically the person who graduates from a high school in the United States really leaves with an 8th grade education. Even though you go there for 12 years, do all this stuff, you're leaving what's equivalent to 8th grade education.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all trying to take away from that? What are you doing?
And then I think I suspect that the reason why he's attacking APs like that, because those AP classes require you to critically think. And one of the things I noticed about the education system here in America doesn't require kids to critically think. They don't provide them a space and an environment and books to critically think. Mm-hmm. They teach these kids to take tests. They teach them to be able to kind of be well-taste text.
Just follow the rules.
And follow rules.
Just do.
The education system here is to me subpar. And I'm being nice with the word subpar. I'm just saying.
I mean, you can make it more than it is, because I went to a straight hood high school. You know what I'm saying? I'm a red to the bone. My business seeing how all day, and so I went to hood high school, but they did have opportunities where we could take college prep classes, honors classes, AP classes, not to the level where there's not, huh?
And how was that advertised?
Well, so I don't know about how it was advertised, but I think the education that I got 35, 40 years ago, however long ago it was, is a lot better than what the students are getting right now. Because they've taken so much stuff out of the classroom. They got all of this. I don't know what they're doing, but I think I got a better education like before than students are getting right now, which that's so crazy because, all of this technology, all of this information is out there. So you would think that they would have found a way to improve it, but I don't see that. Because even when I teach now, mm-hmm. and I teach in higher ed, and when I ask students about certain books, like, did you read The Crucible? Did you read Scarlet Letter? Did you read Animal Farm? Did you read 1984? They don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, I was like, that was college prep material. Everybody read those books when I was in school, but everybody don't read those books right now. And those are the kind of things that you need to read in order for you to be able to, because they had you thinking about, like, Lord of the Flies, for instance. That was mm-hmm. one of the books that we read. That's mm-hmm. one of those books that tell you how, like, Survivor, how you get together, how you run government, how you come together, how those are things that you got to really think about it. It was like they made it, it was like young boys in it, but it's really how a society can function, right? Like, who comes mm-hmm. on top, who becomes a leader, what roles are people going to play in order for us to all get out of it and survive. But they're not reading this stuff. Like, I mean, I probably just said something about a banned book. I don't know. But the things that we read that made us thinkers.
We're not governed here by no banned books.
So. Okay, so the things that we read that made us thinkers, they're not even reading that anymore.
Well, and I think that's the main issue why I think school board members need to be advocates for education, because you want your students to be able to think outside the box. You want your students to be able to critically think. We're not teaching, the kids don't learn to critically think until they get into college. Period. Point blank. I'm not making that stuff up. And it's a whole different world for them. That's why I think a lot of parents push their kids to go to colleges, because they want to open their minds. They meet new people. They meet people from other countries.
all over the world. Yeah.
And you're exposed, right? They don't expose children K through 12 to that type of mindset. And kids really don't get to learn how to critically think until they're in college. And I think that is a travesty. I really think that's a travesty, because I've seen people from other countries come to this country and they're like, so y'all don't question nothing. We don't question that this is wrong. We don't question that the sequence of events, there's some omission here. We don't question that.
Yeah.
We don't. And I think
even just the way they deal with the math and sciences, like, I mean, they come and they're like, I mean, they leave us in the dust.
They
when
do.
It comes to the math and sciences. Like, we just.
Yeah,
what they learned in middle school, and we
you know what I'm saying?
That in 12th grade, they was like, "Oh, we took that class in 6th grade."
I was having a conversation with my daughter in the car. She's the same age as your kids, and I said to her, I said the education system here is trash. Yeah. I said when you
don't have to be trash. It could definitely
doesn't have to be, but it is.
Because I came out of public schools, and I think I came out learning a whole bunch of stuff. But they definitely need to do better. But I do think on one level I agree with you in this. I ain't gonna go so far and say it's trash, but I do believe that it's not as good as it was when I went to school so many years ago.
I'm gonna stick by it. The education system here is garbage. The only time the education system becomes remotely up to par is when you get to college. And that's unfortunate. And I think that that those who are in leadership in education, who are charged to provide curriculum, or who are there to advocate for curriculum, should be doing a better job of trying to open up our children to be more open-minded, be more exposed to more things than just the rigid things that we're all accustomed to over and over again. And then be able to be in a space where you can question. That's what scholars all about. You question. Mm-hmm. You question everything. You question where it is. You do your research. You learn, and there's nothing wrong with that. The fact that we're not teaching our children to be thinkers is a travesty. And I hope that board members, teachers. I know some teachers are really frustrated in this situation anyway. But I'm hoping board members could really go up there and not only fight for teacher pay, which I believe 100% they should get more money, but also fight for kids' education. And one that children could be more prepared to go to college than they are now. So that's just my take on that. A lot is going on around the country with new elected officials in their positions and legislations. There's a lot of states that have supermajorities. Most of them are the southern states with Republicans, and there's a congressperson out in Tennessee. I'm gonna see if I can get his name. And they were Representative Sherrill. His name is in Tennessee. At the state legislature. So one of his colleagues brought in a bill, and this bill was to for the death penalty, I believe, and or punishment for criminal, whatever criminal charges that would require something as hefty as the death penalty. Was talking, and he wanted to add an amendment to the bill, and that amendment was to also add killing by hanging from a tree. So, not killing, but what's that? When they your death penalty. So, but he wanted to add the part of adding hanging by a tree. I just want y'all to understand that these legislators, especially these supermajority legislative ran states, are now trying to bring us back to a space and a time that Black Americans have fought to get what we deem to seem as equity, right? Or equality. And they're just going back and they're like, listen, and I honestly believe that, after Trump became president, there was a shift, a clear shift. And now you see these politicians who, for lack of a better word, kept their mouths and their opinions to themselves, whether they like Black people or not, or how things are going, and for the most part didn't do anything. Now they're acting. And that's something that you all should be very concerned about, because our governor looks at these states and their legislations and the laws that they pass and try to mimic those in our state. And, you know, when you have someone like that who is only catering to a certain group of people in his state and then really wants to regress other groups in his state, that should be a cause for you to pause. Because this is the same man who is thinking about running for president. This is the same man that has a huge following and has a huge war chest, for lack of a better word, to run for president. So we mentioned other states and other legislators in other states because, you know, it does affect us, because you have governors like ours who look at other states and what they do and mimic those legislations. Get someone within the legislature to go ahead and put forth the bill. So, you know, while we may think, because at first when I saw the clip, I thought it was a joke. The man was serious as a heart attack. He wanted to add hanging from a tree as an amendment to a bill that really was discussing the death penalty. And he was serious. He wasn't joking. I do have the clip. I don't know if Sandra would like, if Sandra's okay with me sharing the clip.
I mean, how long is it? Long as we ain't got no copyright problems or whatever thing like that. So yeah.
It's like 30 seconds.
Okay.
But
yeah, Michelle Jones is she's logging in to come on, so we'll have our guest on in a few minutes.
Okay.
She was canvassing today because, you know, she running for office too in North Lauderdale.
Yeah, you know how it is about canvassing. You got to be out.
We'll have another candidate that's coming on after. He's supposed to come in on like at 6:30, but we may have to push him back a little bit. See, Michelle's coming in now.
Okay, so
I see her coming in now.
We can do that.
Do it after. Yeah. So the other candidate, we'll see if we can push him back maybe like to 6:45. What do you think?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We can ask her top 3 things and have her introduce herself, and then we can wrap this up with Michelle. See, she's trying to get on here.
She's logging in.
Yeah.
She's not in yet. Like,
coming.
You adding her to the stream?
Yeah, I think she's coming. I just put it up there. I think it's trying to it's thinking about it.
I don't know if we needed to let them see all that now. Can we just bring that back down or something?
I can bring it back down.
I thought we just let her, when she's ready, we bring her up, because she might have to do some things before we put her.
No problem. Oh, it went off by itself.
Oh, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, she's working on it.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on with the internet, but the internet.
Yeah, the internet is not what it used to be either.
No, man, it's like, and then they're charging you more for less.
Yeah, for less. For less. That's
my cell phone bill. I was like, I'm confused.
It's not about our convenience; it's about them making money.
What you slowing down my data when I have unlimited data? I'm confused.
It's not no unlimited data. My T-Mobile ain't unlimited no more. They be like, you've gotten to whatever number, and I'm like, but I remember I paid y'all a whole bunch of money. Just let me do what I need to do. Since my phone is practically my business.
But I keep forgetting that this country is so capitalistic. It's just like I
Yeah,
I keep forgetting. You know how that is. But in the meantime, since you're trying to get on, let me know if you do see her, because then I will.
Okay, so go ahead, play the video. I don't see her in yet. I'm manning the phone too while we're doing all this.
All right, I'm gonna share it, and then let's post that.
And I was just wondering about, could I put an amendment on that? It would include hanging by a tree also. And also, I would like to sign on to your bill, sir. Thank you. Good idea. And I was just wondering about, could I put an amendment on that? It would include hanging by a tree also. And also, I would like to sign on to your bill, sir. Thank you.
So this was a bill
But what the bill was about, because sometimes I don't want to say nobody said we said something out of context. He might have been talking about something that you can't do. Like, I don't want y'all to be able to hang people by the tree. I don't know. Let's make sure that ain't what he was talking about. What's the context?
It says he offered it as an official amendment to his colleague's bill on the death penalty.
So what was on the death penalty?
So there was a death penalty bill. I think they were adding on some things on the death penalty bill that they have here.
So that's one of the ways you can kill people, execute somebody is to hang them on the tree.
One of the ways you can, one of the ways that would be part of execution of someone who was found guilty.
That might have some Eighth Amendment problems, but okay. That might have some that'll be challenged by the Eighth Amendment. There'll be some Eighth Amendment issues with that one.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is that this whole,
they comfortable enough to do that.
This whole movement of these people behaving this way. There was a time where you were afraid to be. Well, let me take that back.
You wouldn't say that out loud.
There was a time that they were afraid to be, blatant racist. Like they were. They didn't want to be that way, and they didn't want to be labeled. Now they just don't care. Like, we just going. It's a free for all. So. And this is not just here. Sandra mentioned in the beginning of the top of the show about the city of Jackson, Mississippi, where they're basically saying we don't care that this is a predominantly Black neighborhood and it's predominantly Black elected officials. What we gonna do is we gonna come in and we gonna point to judges and we gonna point to people on the commission, and we don't care what you say about it.
Nope, because they can just make those kind of laws and that be it.
And for years and still today, there's a slew of places in Mississippi that are ran only by white people. And so my question,
and they're not appointing no Black people to go over there.
That's my question. Are we appointing Black people in those areas too?
To mix it up a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
A little bit. Is that what's going to happen? Because I think any Black person who's able to challenge that should go in and say, okay, well, since you're appointing people in Mississippi, we're gonna go all around here and we're gonna be appointing some Black people too.
Oh, why you trying to do that?
I'm just saying, if what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you're gonna do it for one
place, to integrate, let's go ahead and integrate.
Integrate. Let's do it. Let's be 100%. Let's integrate all the way through.
Equal protection, due process. Let's go ahead and integrate.
I forgot to say Happy Black History Life and year and all that.
365. I think, is it Women's History Month this month?
It is.
I think it's Women's History Month now.
Mm-hmm. Well, good for y'all and good for us, and we still celebrating us 100%.
365.
I'm excited to see what's going on for Women's History Month this month. I think it's Women in History 300 what is 65
days a year too, and 366 on the leap year.
It is all day. But I just want to remind people that just because the month they gave us, which is the shortest month in the year, by the way, doesn't mean it's over for us.
Mm-hmm.
So continue on. We're still having issues with our guests. However, we mentioned a couple of things about the cities that are having elections this.
And my city is one of them. Miramar is one. And so the only seat that's up this year is the mayoral seat. We actually vote for our mayor, unlike some other cities where the county commission, they decide I don't know if they vote, appoint, whatever, make one person the mayor, the vice mayor. But in Miramar, you actually have to vote for your mayor. So our incumbent is Mayor Wayne Massam. And some of you may know that he actually ran for president in 2020? Right, in 2020.
That was
so 2020. A lot of people know him for that. Like I said, I've always said I live in the best city in Broward County, and so he does have an opponent, and so his opponent, Rudy Theogen, right? Is it Theogen or Theophane?
I'm not gonna say because I don't want to mess it up.
I'm a man. It's Theophane. I'm sorry. Rudy Theophane is actually coming to join us today. He was supposed to come on right at 6:30, but because we're having a bit of a delay with our Michelle Jones, who's a candidate for North Lauderdale. So as soon as we're done talking with her, then he'll hop on and we'll see what it is that he wants. And of course, I'm gonna ask him why he's running against the mayor. I need to know
why.
I want to know why. Okay, so I'm gonna ask him why, so he could tell us why. But
we know But everybody can
Oh
run.
no, I'm not a dream. No, it's not. It's not a dream killer. And I will have to say that I'm always the person who said nobody should run unopposed too, right?
Agreed.
So but I want it to be that he's running more than just that nobody should run unopposed. So that's why I'm gonna ask that question to figure out what it is that why it is that he wants to run. Again, I've said it time again, and I can't just be because I like the mayor that we have right now. I'll be backing down, acting like I don't be running against the mayor because I really do think no one should run unopposed. But I would like to know why is it that he decided to run against this mayor and particularly at this time.
So the city of North Lauderdale has election. Tamarack has election. Coconut Creek has election. Miramar has elections. Margate has election. No, not Margate. I'm sorry. Trying to see the list here of all those have elections. You know what? I'm going to go on this and see because they usually have all the lists of the cities. So it's Hillsborough Beach, Florida, Town of Pembroke Park, North Lauderdale, Deerfield Beach, Coconut Creek, and Miramar. These cities are having elections on March 14th. There is no early voting. There's only election day voting. So if you all are inclined, are in those cities, look up those websites. They usually have those candidates on there and candidate information because it's not really it's not located on the Broward County website, the Broward Supervisor of Election website. Although I had mentioned it to Mr. Scott that he should really kind of have some kind of links. Maybe he does now. Maybe he probably does now. But I did mention that that's something that he should kind of have these links to all the cities so people can not have to look all over the place when they're looking for candidates for running in cities because cities have different times when they do their elections. Zayed said North Lauderdale is a special election costing the residents thousands of dollars.
So they don't like it?
Oh, that's interesting. Wait a minute, Miss. That's Anna. She was the mayor, right? Of North Lauderdale. Yes, that's right.
Was or still is?
I think she was running the last time we had her on the show, and I'm not sure if she was successful in her run. Were you successful in your run, Ms. Zayed? If you can let us know. So it's costing the residents thousands of dollars a special election. That's interesting. Maybe we should ask Michelle when she
send her a link. We'll ask about that and then have if Anna's willing to talk to us about that. We could talk about that.
Yeah. Wasn't aware that it was a special election. I was just thought.
Yeah, I thought it was just one of those odd year cities like City of Miramar is.
Yeah, and Coconut Creek and the rest of them.
So what happened to the commissioner that that's not in office now? Why is there? It was lost. The commissioner had one.
Had to resign.
Interesting. Had to resign. Maybe it was for personal reasons and not for political ones. Hopefully they didn't get in no trouble. They might have just had some personal stuff going on. So she was. Anna. She said she lost her seat, and then the commissioner that won had to resign. Hopefully, thank you for telling us that.
Thank you so much, Ms. Zayed. We appreciate it. Oh, here we go, Michelle. How are you?
Oh my God, I've been trying to get in this crazy thing because I don't know what email address I gave you, but this is the first link I got in the email.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Yeah. So introduce yourself, Michelle. Let us know who you are, what you are running for, and then we'll go into questions.
Well, my name is Michelle Jones. Maybe most of your viewers already know who I am. I ran in Tamarack in I think 3-4 years ago. So I'm in North Lauderdale, and I'm running for commissioner for District D, and it's special election. It's an open seat that was vacant from last year August. So that seat has been there open. We had 8 people. Well, we end up with 8 people for the interview to fill the position. So now it's just me and another lady. So everybody, Michelle.
So what do you mean? So it was 8 people that originally started running, and then for one reason or another.
That when actually it was supposed to be an interview, And because of they send us this paperwork to fill out, and the commissioners and the mayor was supposed to make sure that it was a fair interview. You guys should watch. You really should watch that night. And when we got there, we were told that it wasn't an interview because he already made a choice about who he wanted there. And so he nominated some lady he has, and then the commissioners were like, no, it's not going to go that way. They had somebody that they wanted. So it ended up to be those two people, which none of them happened to run except for the one lady that's running now. We had 3 of them that registered, which was me and 2 other women. One of them, she did not live in the district, which they found out very late because her name is still on the ballot. So it's just been one craziness over here. And as you know, North Lauderdale is the sister right next to Tamarack.
Right. So maybe I'm a little bit confused, because when someone resigns from an elected position, does that commission have the right to appoint someone?
Yes, they do. They can. But they have to have, as you know, 3 votes.
Okay.
So that's the problem. Just like in Miami and everywhere else, they cannot. So you now end up with a special election that the residents are paying for. Wow. All because our commissioner and our mayor, or the mayor, feels as if I want who I want. And and the thing about it is, as you guys know, in politics, they never pick the qualified people to do so. It's always someone that, I mean, the qualification is just living here for a year and being 18, and then so that the qualification of not having people that are really a part of the community. So that is one of the biggest problems that we have, and that you and I both learned in the last campaign that we ran, is just it's all about who you know and friends. You know, that's it.
Yeah, wow. And they should. I didn't run. I'm sure that comment was directed more towards Narnique.
Yes. She ran for school board member. Yeah, I'm trying to fix my hair. I can look on here. It's all right. So you know.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, it's fine. I witnessed that firsthand. It really is about who you know, and
it's about how you. It's not about. It's really not about.
But Narnique, yours was a little different because you was running countywide.
I was.
And every now and then, you know, when I have to drive from South Broward all the way through North Broward, that is not an easy thing. No. This county is big. Like that is, how do you get to all of those different places? The personalities are different depending on where you are. The demographics different. You really shouldn't try to target everybody the same way. Even though you find your issues and you stick on your issues, the way you deliver it could be different depending on the community. Not to say that I'm not suggesting people should deliver stuff and be shady about it, but you really can't speak to every community the same way. The way
you cannot. No, you cannot.
People, you may have to speak to, you know, somebody different. And I mean, the county is huge. I get to like, was it like, it's different, because I always get confused if it's Deerfield or Darien that's in Broward. You get to Deerfield, the east is a little different from the west, or the middle. It's just, the county is big, and it's a lot of personalities that
you need to have a lot of money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A lot of money.
So tell us, why is it that you decided to run for the commission seat in North Lauderdale, Michelle?
You know what? In 2017, my mom was sick. My mom is in Tamarack, which is right across the street from me. I have been a part of Tamarack and North Lauderdale. My home in North Lauderdale, I've owned it here for 19 years. That I raised my son here. And so in 2007, when my son graduated and went away to college, my mom was not well. Yeah, she has congested heart failure. She's right next door now. I'm still there because I have to be. So I'm still back and forth. I got married, so I'm back in my home. But when I ran in Tamarack, it wasn't something that I knew anything about, honestly. It's just that they used me, and they came to me and say, Michelle, I think that you'd be great to run for the community. And it was because the person that I was running against was one of my tenants. I gave him a place to live for a few, so they knew that I knew things about him. And I guess that's what they wanted me to reveal, because they all hated him so much. They wanted to use me to get to that. So in the middle of the campaign, when I found out this, I was very upset, but I was smart. I decided to just continue to run and give it my 100%. And I'm glad I did, because that campaign was a beast, and it's nothing compared to this one. Absolutely nothing. So when I moved in with my mom, I was there until 2020, and they came and asked me to do it because they thought I was just a great example for what the community should be. North Lauderdale and Tamarack is a place where it's two cities. I had my business in Tamarack. I did cooking classes. I was a big part of Tamarack. I was a big part of North Lauderdale. I did their 50, both cities turned 50. My school did their cupcakes in 50. You can look on their database and see. So I've always been a part, and people might see it because even when I was running, they're like, oh, we thought you live in North Lauderdale. I said, well, yeah, I do, but I'm with my mom now. So this is also my home too. So when I was there, that's why I did it. This time when I did it because, number one, I knew Jack for many, many years. And I saw that my investment is running down. And I saw the same pattern of friends. I saw the same pattern. Friends. And in the community, for my job of what I do, let me tell you what I do. My job is working with people to rehabilitate them, period. Whether they come out of foster care system as, they're out of foster, whether they come out of jail, whether they're in shelters, whether they're not, whether they're, whatever it is, my job is to work with people with any form of disability, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, any kind of disability. So my job is to rehabilitate them, find out what they want, evaluate them, see if I send them to school, if that's what I need to do, get them this, do them that, put them in a job. I have to make sure that the job fits them. So I've been in the community doing this for a long time. Not only that, but I've also been a teacher for a long time. So I know the community. So this, for me, being in the community and seeing that I don't just work in Tamarack. I'm in Lauderdale. I had cooking classes there. I work with I'm not a person that stay in one city. I'm in West Palm Beach. Wherever they ask me to go and ask me where's a client and I can go there, that's what I do. I don't just circle around because this is, and there it is. But I do work. And I am in North Lauderdale. And what I realized is that my son investment was running down. You can't buy houses here anymore. The city has gone from...
So no, I need to just for clarification. When you say your investment is going down, what is that? Tell us what that means.
My home.
The value of your home is going down.
My home, the prices are going up, but you should see the city has changed in the last decade. I mean,
Changed in what sense? Like I don't. If your property value is going up, then I need to understand how your home
property value goes up because it's Florida and it's going up. Y'all know that. There's a facts about it. What people are actually starting to do now is moving back to Lauderdale.
Is it the environment, or is it
because the beautification of the city? That's the problem. And they don't spend any time. And just the other day, they had a meeting about the $22 million that they got for that. And there's none using over here. They put up a few flowers and that money is still sitting there. Why? Because the commissioners, they can't get along. They can't make a vote. They can't, because they're just fighting. And they were all...
What are they fighting about? What are they fighting about? Do you know what it is that they're fighting about?
I don't know. I think it's all very biased to me from what I see on the meetings. I think it's because they don't get along anymore. And so that again, not putting the people that really matter and that vote them in for them to represent them. Is that it now? And not only...
So they're not getting along. You want to be part of this crew. What is it that you want to see happen?
Let me tell you, because I can't be controlled. My always is for it's for the people.
But what do you want to do for the people? What is it that you want to see happen? Your value's going up, but how do you want to make this more of a homey city?
I cannot. The only thing that I can do to make it a homey city is do what they knocking door. Nobody knew their mayor. Nobody knew their commissioner. But if you ask them if they knew Jack Brady, they said yes. I remember first meeting Jack Brady at the Boys and Girls Club when he used to do everything there and he was the one that nominated me for Outstanding Woman of my Community. He was the mayor for 29 years. And Jack used to get on the fire truck on Easter with an Easter bunny and he used to drive around throughout the community. People knew who he was. Christmas time, Santa, he drives around. People knew who he was. And I think one of the things that we're lacking in the community, because we keep promising people things. I cannot fix nothing in these neighborhoods. I can't. The only thing I can do is get to know my community and have them and I fix it. You know, we keep telling people we're going to do this for you. No, I had an interview the other day and they were looking at me like I'm crazy. No, I can't fix nothing in the community because I am one person. I can represent you, but I need you with me. Okay, and that's what I tell these voters now. I need you because you're the one with the vote. You're the one with the power. You're the one that's put in there. I can be your guidance.
Okay. So one of the things that you said you were doing before you got here was that you were canvassing. So so I've been canvassing with folks before, and we usually, when you get a chance, you know, sometimes you get lucky and people are home and they're willing to talk to you, right?
Yeah.
So what type of things are the people in the community that you're meeting during your canvassing saying that they want to see happen in North Lauderdale, or what are they asking for you to help them do to make their city better than it already is?
The same thing I just said to you. They needed to clean up because a lot of them, you know, how many businesses.
Well, clean up in that, like, there's rubbish outside and they need it picked up, or they need to clean the trees because they're letting it dry, like that kind of cleanup.
It's not even
waste management back to pick up the garbage on a regular schedule. Is that
listen,
okay?
So
how is it as a commissioner you can't make that happen? Isn't that a matter of like budgeting?
Go ahead.
No, so I'm saying, like you said, as a commissioner, you can't do that. So how is it as a commissioner you wouldn't be able to do that? Because that just sounds like
as a commissioner, because you can. What I'm saying to you, I won't able to do this on my own, and I'm going to explain to you why. I'm not an amateur anymore. Do you understand? I'm not going to be a politician and tell you what you want to hear or tell you all that politician things. I'm not doing it. What I'm telling you is that the business here, they don't live here and they don't care. Their nasty gas stations are filled with garbage. They don't clean it up. They have people with bikes and stuff littering. They don't. If you go out there and get to know these people that are there, except for the ones that are building the opening up those big storage that you're getting all of this from, nobody is thinking about the people that is in the community that needs. They don't live here. So get to know the businesses. Get to know the small mom and pop businesses that are filthy. They open so many of them. I've taken pictures of all of them. You need to know those people so you can ask them to say, hey, I'm getting to know you because I want to clean up the community. And when they see their commissioner out there, when they see their mayors out there, believe me, if it's one thing I know as a teacher, as an advocate, when people see that you're doing something, they will follow.
So what are your top three things you're going to tackle as if you are elected to be the commissioner for District D?
The first thing is connect with the people, because they're not connect with the people. That should be the easiest one. And people complain about safety, cleaning. You know, they continue safety. No, police officers are not enough.
Do you guys have your own police, or you do BSO? You guys contract with BSO?
They do BSO. They all do, but there's not enough. So I do have a plan. I honestly have a plan that I can probably tell you, but I just don't want to go through that plan right now. Sure. But I have a plan that works and that will works. Okay, I do. And when I see it, I'm going, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing this? Why are they not connecting with the small business mom and pop restaurants and grocery stores and gas stations? Some of these people don't live here. And because nobody cares to know who they are, they don't care about cleaning up the place. I made a video just going around, even in Kimberly. I didn't even know parts of Kimberly and in that area exist, because when you're not in it, you don't care. Right. When you're not in it, you don't care. So I am now to the point where I'm like, okay, this is not something I'm going to do because somebody asked me to. This is something that I know that becoming a commissioner right now over in Hamptons Park, there is homeless people, especially seniors. That's there. Homeless seniors are now in the park where they go during the day to make their juice, to listen to their radio. I met a few of them. One gentleman, I helped him to get finally, after 3 years of signing him up for housing, he finally just got housing. finally, after 3 years.
After 3
I
years.
have several clients that are in the shelter.
Wow.
And exactly, several that are in, and even though they have jobs, they now, majority of them sometimes have just, give you an example, not calling any name. One of my clients, she has a record 30 years ago, which is still affecting her. So she lives in a shelter. Thank God for Publix. Publix can they do give them second chances. But these are all the things that I see that our community need. It's the immediate attention to things that matters. That's it. They're not connecting with the community, because if they connect with the community, they would see these things and they would know that these things are there. Yeah. Not only that, but facts is that the lady that I'm running against, she's probably 25 years older than I am. And she's the mayor's choice, and she's the mayor's friend. She's a retired nurse. Very nice lady. She feeds people. She feeds people in the community. But what happened to them tomorrow? You know, is it constantly, every time we go into these communities, we are bringing them food? What about bringing them away to get the food? What about helping them to find a job? Do you know how many people doors I knock on that says, can you help me get a job? Do you have a resume? No. Do you know where to go for a resume? No.
So it sounds like your top priorities is connecting with the people, security, and resources, and bringing resources, or delegating the resources that you currently have to the right places.
To the right places. And what I do have of so many years of working in this field is resources. So I find it that the friendship thing it upsets me, because the people in our community are losing hope. They are. They don't understand that they're the one that's giving away that hope, because they don't care. When somebody says, oh, I'm going to vote for you. Why? Why are you voting for me?
I heard you say something about homeless people. Are there shelters in North Lauderdale for the homeless elderly folks?
No.
So they're just sleeping in the park and that's it? Where do they go?
Because they can't sleep in the park. They go to the park during the day.
Okay, so where do they go sleep?
I tell you, I have one of them. He's like the one that just got the home. He sleeps in places like, if they don't move him out, like Walmart, like in plazas, in his truck, in his van.
Oh, he has a car. Okay.
He does. He has a car, but he just bought a truck. I helped him to get a used truck somewhere. He has a truck, so he does little work here and there. And again, a lot of mental issues with people. Some of them have a lot of mental issues. And that's also the things that I've been trying to preach to the school system as well, is that learning disability turns into mental disability. And these things are not being addressed. And so for me, did we serve on the board together?
Yes, on a diversity board. Yes.
And facts. Every single month, I made sure I talk about one thing. I don't care what they say to me. One thing. Ms. Jones, we talk about this. I don't care how many times we talked about it. We need Parkway cleaned up. Our kids are going to school in mold. And then because I was running and I so happened to know that Parkway needed running, they made it about politics. No, it's not about politics. It's about the children in the school.
That's right.
So Parkway is being torn down. This is what we have to do. We have to be consistent about the things that we want, and we have to make sure. My son worries about me all the time, just like I worry about him. He plays basketball. He ripped out his shoulders, and that's his thing. And I always tell him, you know me, you will die for basketball. I will die for what I believe in. And that's the mom that you have. And he knows that.
Right.
I am not going to be a person, and you guys, well, put it this way. I don't know if you've known me over the year. I know you don't see me everywhere because I'm not girl. I'm not, because I don't believe in what they believe in. I believe in doing the right thing. I don't believe, yes, there's going to be decisions to make that you have to make these decisions. As a leader, you have to make decisions that are going to be tough and hard. And you got to meet in the middle. Because not everybody's going to be happy with what you do. But as long as the majority counts, that's what matters. Right. And that's what I am now. I'm to the point where I'm, number one, I'm too old to do all that stuff. And number two, I want to leave a legacy behind for my son. I want him to be proud of who his mother was.
Right.
And who his mother is.
Well, you definitely are very passionate, and I think that North Lauderdale would be lucky to get someone who cares a lot about the people and what the people need, and willing to listen and deal with the people directly rather than what they feel the people need. So that's
and have the skill set to do it, right? Who has the skill set to do it, has the ability to interact with people throughout the county, has a wealth of knowledge and information and resources that she can provide to folks, and probably break the tie that's happening in the commission right now.
Knows
someone so there could be some movement.
Someone who knows the community, and it drives me every day.
Right.
It is the one thing that drives me every day, is that I have to try.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just sit back anymore. I have to try.
Yeah, well, and we appreciate that. And so just tell people how to get in touch with you. I heard you said something about it's expensive to run. Maybe folks can still donate in the last 13 days or so. I don't know. I don't know if they got to stop donating, but maybe they can also help you canvas when you're canvassing. So tell them how to get in touch with you in order for them to do that.
This campaign, which is coming up. Different. I have been endorsed by the Sun Sentinel.
I saw that.
And I have also been endorsed by the Realtor of Yes. And I'm going to go pick up my big check on Friday, girl. And I have some really great endorsements. So that was something that I didn't have in the last campaign, was the support.
Yes.
So, with these kind of endorsements, it is going to help me. Not only that, I have a lot of my clients. My husband is, as you know, he's a principal. So he has a lot of the students that want community service hours. And a lot of people that believes in me. I mean, I got a $500 donation from someone in New York that I have absolutely no idea who this person is, but my husband knew.
Look at that. That's amazing. So what's the website? Where can people go to donate?
You can go and you can look. It's CJ for Commissioner.
CJ for Commissioner.
CJ for Commissioner.
You putting it in?
Chef Michelle Jones. It's like CJ for Commissioner.
The number 4 or FOR? The number 4 or
FOR? Yes. Okay. And the link is there. People are still donating. I need money because I have to make sure that I am present. Okay. Present. Okay. My doggy is wearing his shirt. I'm voting for my mommy. Yes, I got to make sure that I am present, again, to the languages of different people. In here, North Lauderdale, there is more Haitian, more Blacks, more Spanish than there's white. So I have to make sure that I'm knocking on all the different cultures, the different, and not having people vote because I'm Black, not having people vote because I'm Jamaican or somewhat, not having people vote because the mayor is Haitian, and not having people vote. These are all the things that I'm hearing. Oh, I vote. He's Haitian. He can because he was here for 8 years and did nothing and run down our city. He was a commissioner here. I voted for him 10 years ago, right here at my patio. Him and his wife came and knocked on my door.
Right.
10 years ago.
So you're invested. Hey, everybody, head over to cjforcommissioner.com. Please donate to Michelle's campaign. She is for the people of North Lauderdale. She's been living there for over 20 years. She knows what the community needs. She sees what the community needs, and she's listening to what the community needs. That's the most important part. Most important part. And so please go support her campaign. She needs volunteers. She's still out there canvassing and bringing in much needed funds to really put the word out that she's here for the people. She's going to be elected by the people, and she's going to be working for the people.
So go to cjforcommissioner.com.
That's it. There we go. Right. And listen, anything you put, $20. I'm not.
It all helps.
It all helps. If 100 people donate $1, that's $100.
Right. Forego that Starbucks coffee and go ahead and give it a $10, child. So
right. And there's no early vote. There's no early voting. There's a vote by mail. The ballot should have gone out, so you have your vote by mail.
Ballot, and you have to vote on election now day. Is that I'm knocking on those doors when the ballot came in.
Right. So just vote by mail or you vote on that day.
Exactly. There's only 2 sites, which is really good.
Okay.
Really good. And it's both schools, which happen to be Parkway. Parkway's on my mind. Pinewood Elementary and Silver Lakes. Okay. Which the lady that's running do not know. Even the school board member that's over her. I mean, how do you not know that?
Mhm.
You know, how do you not know you're running?
Right.
How are you going to fight for these schools in the urban areas if you don't know who they are? We don't want no more politician friends. I'm done with it. I am done with it.
CJforcommissioner.com. Head over there. Give Michelle your support. We appreciate you so much coming on, Michelle. I know you had to...
Wait, I made a mistake. It's MJ, Michelle Jones.
Oh, MJ.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm so glad I saw that. CJ's Healing Arts is the name of my.
So it's
Is it?
So what is it?
So we need to
CJ Healing Art is the name of my business. MJ. Sorry, Misha.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And you'll see my site. I have a wonderful young lady that is volunteering to do all that stuff for me. So, and I also have sponsors, primary care. I am on the radio. Make sure they listen to me on the radio. And just please go out and vote on March 14th to make a difference.
Oh, vote early by mail. Send in your ballots.
Vote by mail. Vote by mail.
Track it. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
We wish you nothing but luck. And if you win, because we're gonna put it in the atmosphere, can you come back and talk to us?
Yes. Yeah. My baby is itching.
And I need you to help them homeless people, them people that's hanging out in the park all day.
Yeah.
Okay. I will. Come here, Papa. Come here.
Right. People that's
I
hanging out
want
in
you
the
to
park all
leave
day.
don't leave yet. Come here, Papa. Come to Mama. Come here. Say hello. Come on. Say hello. He chewed up my whole.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Say hi. You're not gonna say hello.
I'm shy.
He's out there camping. Cutie pie. Beautiful dog.
Yes, bye-bye. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. All right. So we got our other candidate coming up.
Rep Rudy Theophane is coming. How are you?
Oh.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
How you
Always.
doing?
I'm doing excited, man.
You doing the thing? You doing it?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Awesome.
You're
All right.
excited.
So go ahead and do the introduction, Sandra, because this is your city, boo.
Well, yeah. So I saw you yesterday talking to the chamber people. You know what I mean? I actually am a resident of Miramar. I got my ballot, saw your name on there. But I have to say that I did meet you when you were working with Dr. Stephanie Thomas's campaign. So he's not new to me. I just know he was doing some other work, and so I was like, I think I know that name. He's running in the Miramar. I know this is the best city, so I can see why you want to be a part of it and run it and everything like that. It is. It's absolutely the best city in Broward County. I mean, hands down. Like, I don't know what you mean.
Okay.
But it is though. Right? All right. So, yeah, that is. It's not for debate. You know what I'm saying? There's it's not up for debate. All right. So I was excited to hear that you wanted to come. That that you're running. I said, well, let's see why you gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the city is great. So I'm telling you, I don't have no complaints. But I suspect you saw a reason or a need in order for you to decide to run against the former presidential candidate, Mayor Wayne Messer. So tell me why you made them kind of choices.
So I made the choices because I'm an individual who's I'm a grassroots individual. I'll meet you anywhere. Sometimes people say they see me in my suit, so they think, oh, well, he's a suit and tie guy. But where I met you was in Overtown.
Yes,
right?
we met in Overtown.
Like, I'll go to Overtown. I'll go to Liberty City. I'm part of the Circle of Brotherhood. So, like, we work with people directly, right? And I'm one of those individuals. Don't let the suit and tie fool you. I will be outside.
So Overtown's a little fancy these days. So we were not at Red Roosters in Overtown or anything like that. We were actually doing the distribution to the homeless, doing community service in Overtown on that day. So don't think, because you're like, so you could have been in Overtown, but you could have been doing something else. No, we were doing a community service event in Overtown where we met.
But still,
we ended up collaborating on another event afterwards. So
big up to Red Rooster nonetheless,
So before you go on, can you please tell us your name, what you're running for, and then we can get to the conversation because we just threw you up in there.
No, that's because
tell us who you are, tell us your name, what are you running for, and then
talking about Miramar.
my name is Rudy Theophane, and I'm running for the seat of mayor of the city of Miramar, Beauty in Progress. Right? I'm 39 years old, about to turn 40 by December. I've been really invested in the community, and my biggest passion is how do we provide the resources and the help to families? Because at the end of the day, what's good for families is what's good for the community. And so when I deal with organizations, my biggest thing is how can I help these young brothers and sisters to get the skill set that they need to get into the workforce. Now, keeping in mind that some of them may not want to go to college, and that's the reason why I think it's imperative to really have conversation with parents, to reiterate the point that some students may not be interested in college, but they may want to work in a blue collar field. Or even if a student say, listen, Mom, I want to be social media marketing, right? There's opportunities that are available because of technology and AI. So we really want to make sure that we are able to help them identify their passion and not discourage them. Because someone told me the other day that the wisest is the man who plants the tree, who doesn't really gain the shade. And it's really to bring back the point that we must invest in our children. We cannot steer away from it. The biggest thing that I've dealt with when I deal with single mothers is they'll say things like, well, Rudy, people call me by my middle name, Shango. So they'll be like, Shango, I don't understand how you're able to have this bond with my son. Like, he doesn't listen to anybody, but he listens to you. I said, listen, I was once your son. So it's very important for us to understand that we cannot ignore issues. Going to Miramar, the interesting thing about Miramar, if you do a survey, depending on where you live, you're either here, oh, this is an amazing place, it's a paradise, especially people who live in Central and West Miramar. But if you live on the east side of Miramar, depending on where you live, you may not feel the same. I've met with residents who didn't feel safe, like Lucy. She said, I lived in Miramar for 15 years. I never thought about selling my home, but I feel unsafe. I go at Woodscape around about, and I just don't feel safe. I feel scared. And that's something it's a reoccurring theme. When I go to Publix and I'm canvassing, I hear the same thing. I don't feel safe. We have groups of young adults just congregating, getting into trouble. The police is trying their best. My barbershop is on Douglas and Miramar Parkway, not too far from Miramar Senior High. I saw a group of kids, a gang of them just going back and forth fighting. It was 15 police officers. And I'm just looking at it and I'm like, something has to be done. Right.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. So Miramar is one of the cities in Broward County that doesn't contract with BSO. We have our own city. So what is it that you would want, or the folks from your canvassing wants to see happen? Because if you said there was police officers there, what is it that you can do as the mayor that can change the minds of people that live out east?
Correct. So I personally do not endorse the idea of bringing BSO. I don't think that's going to be the solution to it. There's some people that say, hey, look, Rudy, I support the idea for BSO. Me personally, I don't think it's going to be enough police officers. I think we have to take more preventive measures by going to the actual schools. If the police officers are able to apprehend, a young brother or sister or whoever it may be, that we can be able to sit down, talk to that individual, but more importantly, talk to the parents. We really want to get the parents engaged to see what's going on. A lot of the things that, in my viewpoint, when it comes to behavior, it has a lot to do with counseling. So I'm in partnership with a few organizations. And the biggest thing is most working class family, they can't afford a mental health therapist. They can't, right? So we have, in the past few years, focused on the importance of mental health, and it's for adults as well as teenagers as well. These young adults, they go through a lot. I mean, they have social media. At my age, we didn't have social media. We didn't have Instagram, but they're going through a lot of pressure, and they need help. They need counseling, right? So I'm really invested in ensuring that we can help change and shift their mindset from a place of getting caught up in trouble. Because 9 times out of 10, these young kids ain't bad. They're not bad.
All right, so we want to interrupt you right here, but I'm gonna let Narnique ask the question first, and then I'll ask mine.
Yeah, so Sandra, you asked a question about what can you do in terms of safety. So number one, first question I want to know, how long have you been living in Miramar?
About 5 years.
About 5 years. Okay. The second question I have is what is the difference What are you going to come to bring into Miramar? Because being around Sandra all the time, she tells me, "Oh, my city's doing this, my city's doing that, and my commissioner's doing this." And I believe all commissioners, right, are responsible, or they don't have quadrants or
Yeah,
whatever.
we have at large. I think they call it at large commissioners,
at large.
meaning like
So
when you vote, it's for
everybody.
they represent everybody.
All right, so you've been living there for 5 years. In the 5 years you've been living there, what have you seen that precipitated you to run for to be mayor, that you see that you can change, that hasn't changed, or that's apart from the things that you were talking about with the kids? But what did you see for the whole of Miramar that you think that you can come in and make some real changes?
Yes. So the biggest thing that I've observed is the inequality between the East, Central, and West Miramar. East Miramar, as we know, demographically, it's a higher concentration of Black people, right? It's the highest concentration of Black people who live on the eastern side of Miramar. And when you go, we gain a police hub, right? So we have a police hub, and it makes sense. We had issues as it pertains to crime, so it makes sense to have a police hub in East Miramar. However, we lost to Wells Fargo. So what are we doing where the bank says, I want to leave. I want to leave the city. Same thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna interrupt you. So one of the things the banks did was, so remember when they was bailing out the banks? Because I think the bank, if you're talking about East Miramar, I know one of the Wells Fargo was in a shopping plaza. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. So one of the things the bank did was that they didn't want to be in shopping plazas no more when their leases were up. They went and built their own buildings with the money that they got from the bailout. So it could be a whole bunch of reasons why that Wells Fargo is gone, and not necessarily because there's some decline with the community. So because that's one of the things that I noticed that happened here. Because most of the banks, because I live in Miramar too, but I do live out west, most of the banks were in plazas, and when they got that money from the recession, they all built freestanding buildings and got out of the plaza. So unless there was a place for Wells to build a bank, they were not staying in the plaza, because that was just not the business model that they were keeping anymore. That could be an alternative as to why Wells Fargo ain't there no more. Not because the people in the area got too bad and they were scared of getting robbed or something. Yeah, and I'm not saying that's what you said. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So it still boils down to the biggest issue. Like when you said you like Miramar, you love it. It's an amazing city. Mm-hmm. And I asked you, where do you live? You tell me the west side, right? So the biggest issue is that the individuals who's on the ground, because I'm coming from living to the east side. I just lived in Central for not even a year, right? Just made possibly a year. So I recently just moved out here. So the biggest issue is that when I hear perspective, no one is incorrect. No one's incorrect. When you go to the west, the complaints are unique. The complaints are the pipes, what's going on with the water in the pipes. Sometimes people talk about the lake. I'm hearing about the lake. So the blasting from the sound and the fracturing, and that's
we have that. I have that. So you mean out west? That's what we complain about, the fracking and the blasting.
It's a unique issue, right? So like you have someone complaining about the water in the pipes, and that's something that the city have certain things available for it. You have people talking about maybe the noise, sound control. When I go to west, it's a whole different complaint. Whereas in the east, you have complaints about feeling unsafe. Complaints about not having enough lighting. But the biggest thing is what I hear, particularly in the West and Central, is about the homeowners association. I had so many people yell and scream at me about the homeowners association, and I always tell them, look, I'm not the mayor yet, so like don't yell at me. Let me get in, then you can yell at me about the HR. So the most important thing in my viewpoint is communication, and I think because our city is 140,000 people and counting, we need community outreach coordinators. We need an ambassador. We need to break down the city into 13 different sections.
So depending on what you're gonna pay the ambassador, I'm gonna go ahead and apply.
Okay. So I think it's imperative for us to go. No. I'm not. Listen, the biggest thing that I hear other people say in the West Side is, don't raise my taxes. They said, hey, promise that you don't raise my taxes.
Oh, they don't raise the taxes. They just raise the property insurance.
Or the property insurance.
And that becomes the problem.
Listen, the biggest thing in my viewpoint is looking at it from a perspective of, we have a population of 141,000 people, and you would be surprised how many people that I knocked on the door, and I was like, oh, I'm running for, for officer mayor, and they'll tell me, oh, I love Mayor Chamber, Maxwell Chamber. I went to this new restaurant across the street, CJ Caribbean restaurant, a Haitian cuisine spot, and they're like, Maxwell Chamber, I'll fight you. Maxwell Chamber is not the mayor, and I get it a lot, but it goes to the misconception and the gap in terms of communication. We need to be able to be accountable for every single individual because there's a dollar amount associated with every single individual. From a census perspective, we need to be able to say, hey, listen, this is the city. I know you may not make it to city hall meetings all the time, but we can have community outreach coordinators to work as your ambassador to be able to bring this before us so we can put these items on the agenda. I hear people say that we have advisory boards. We do have an advisory board. Heck, I was the former chair of the Miramar Historical Advisory Board. I was the chair. And when I was the chair, I never missed a meeting. When I was in Miami and City Hall, I literally used to leave City Hall in Miami to make sure we conduct meeting and address the issues. And I'll tell you one thing about our advisory board. There's little to no one that's attending. Apart from enough members for the quorum, people were not attending. So
that's in Miramar, you mean? In Miramar, they weren't attending?
Historical advisory board, there's people that are not attending. So we want to be able to say, look, I get it. You won't make it to all city hall meetings. You may have a long day. Your family members, your mother, you're working long hours. You have issues, and you're not aware of the resources that are available. And I want you to be aware of that. I want you to be able to get in contact with someone who's going to relay the message to make sure that it comes to the city directly for us to provide you a pathway to a solution to your problem. Here's a quick example. I was at CJ Caribbean Cuisine restaurant across the street. This restaurant been there for 12 months, over a year. So I told the owner, I said, the only reason why I'm walking in your restaurant right now is because my friend on Instagram, because they recently started doing the Instagram, say, hey, this place is in Miramar. I'm like, is it Miramar? I gotta show up. So he sends me the address. I go across the street and I see it's literally across the street. I see it's a beautiful restaurant. And I tell the sister, I said, well, how long you been in business? She says 12 months. I said, you didn't have a grand opening? You didn't have Chamber of Commerce? What do you have? She tells me, Rudy, no one came. We did pull the permits, we did that, but there was no commitment from the city. There was no city resources that was helping to promote our business. So for 12 months, this restaurant was practically empty. So have you noticed why I went to the Chamber of Miramar when we did the debate? You notice I was at that restaurant, at the location itself. And as a small business owner, going to small business, it's very important that we do everything possible to ensure and promote those small business, or they will not be able to sustain themselves. Even
especially restaurants.
You're telling me
that's a risky business right there.
It's definitely risky, right? So imagine 12 months without getting the proper promotion. She just got some recognition because of Instagram. So it's a big issue. And while I'm in the restaurant, I met a brother who lived in West Miramar. His pipes got damaged because of the water. I don't want to talk about the water again because it's a controversy, but his pipes got damaged because of the water. And he was not aware that within the city, they allocated about $10,000, right? So he spent $25,000 out of pocket. Yes, he's like, yeah, we could have really used the $10,000 because the water pipes, it really destroyed every aspect of the house, right? So it's something that you have to repipe, so we have resources available. We want people to engage. Voter turnout has to deal with the confidence. When people are not confident, they don't vote. When I talk to young people who say they don't vote, I say, I don't blame you. I don't. Because when I was your age, I saw an older dude give me a spiel, and I asked him, well, why should I vote for you? And they come up with all these agenda that does not relate to me. And that to me is very important. At the end of the day, my biggest concern is to make sure that every voice is heard. If someone's saying, hey,
I don't want you to tell young people you don't blame them. You gotta vote anyway. I don't want you to be telling them that no more.
When I talk to my young folks, I don't lie to them. Right, I tell them.
It's not about lying. You just got to explain to them the importance of voting. Now, whether or not they should vote for everyone who asks them for their vote, that's a different story. But they need to vote.
To them the importance, right? But I literally be honest, and I said I understand. I don't blame you. I understand. However, I explained to them, listen, first I asked them, what is it you looking for? Right. And 9 times out of 10 don't have a sense of direction. I don't know. So what do you want to do? What's your passion? Okay. They'll tell me their passion, what they want to do. And I say, okay, look, we have some resources that are available for you, whether it's you getting a particular a scholarship or a grant, we have things available for you. Because a lot of these young individuals that I interact with, most of their mindset is, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I tell them, like this a young brother I'm working with, Aaron, he's 21 years old. And I tell him, listen, you want to be an entrepreneur? Okay, cool. You want to make money? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so what do you want to do? He said, I don't know, but I want to make money. I said, great. Well, guess what? I own a business. I can teach you how to register your business just like mine, and you can have the model, right? You could either work for me and learn firsthand, or if you want to, you could step in the ring. You'll register. I'll guide you on registration. Make sure you get the point of contact. Make sure you get the partners. Show you how to get the business. Help you with the marketing. Literally. Now he's actually up and running. So that's the main objective, is not to tell me, because this is not a tell me generation. This is the show me generation. You can't tell them that you care. You got to show them that you care. And that's what I believe in. I believe in showing that I care. I may not be the smartest person in the room, but I'm the most passionate person in the room. I've made it to individuals, and I said, listen, regardless of the outcome of the election, anything that Rudy Singleton said, my word is my bond. I'm a follow.
So
I got some questions, but I'll let Narnik go.
No, go ahead.
I just want to clarify to your response to me is that there's a lack of communication. There's some sort of gap that you think that you are witnessing since you've been living here for 5 years. And because if from what I'm understanding, what you're saying is that people are not being heard. The restaurant was there for 12 months. There was no kind of, opening, no involvement with the city. So it sounds to me that you believe that there is a gap in communication, because you mentioned also Maxwell Chambers, who is like from what I understand, he's the party commissioner. He does more than have very great parties. He's popular. He's very popular with all the events that he puts on. It's really beautiful, because I've been to a couple, and it'd be lit. So it sounds like there is you saying that there's a communication barrier or a communication gap. Is that what I'm hearing you saying?
Yes, between the residents and the actual city itself. And it's just too many people per ratio per commissioner, and so it's just too many.
So since you said that, because I kind of like the flow, even though I'm gonna take you back a little bit. So when you say it's too many people per commissioner, what's your recommendation for that? What do you do? Should it be based on district now? Would you want to change the at-large? So what should you do if it's too many people per commissioner? Make the commission larger?
No. I don't believe that I think we should leave it at large. And the reason being is, if we broke it to different sections, then we're going to get into a position of more division. We already have divisions. Okay. So we have a division between the East.
So what do you do? Add more people to the commission? Because you said it's too many people per commissioner. So how you saw that problem?
That's why I recommend a community outreach coordinator, and to break down the cities into 13 different sections, right? Because we're not going to add more commissioners. No, it's too costly, right? If we try the district route, we can try the district route, but I'll tell you right now, I know a lot of the ins and outs. There's certain things I will not speak on. That's the last thing I think would be good. I'm really pushing the idea of one Miramar. The fact that we say the word East Miramar is troubling, right, to me, because I believe in one Miramar. So, and I never would want someone to be in a position where they're able to get in contact with that commissioner, and that commissioner says, oh, well, you're not in my district, I got to refer you to that individual. No. So I would rather have it as it stands, to have a commissioner at large. And then what we'll do is we'll have community outreach coordinator by having different maps, right? We can break it down to different sections, 13 different sections, and you have a point of contact, a community outreach coordinator. And this is not like something that I created myself. This is something I've seen implement. I mean, I don't just deal in government here. Sometimes people talk and I'm like, what I did in Chicago was bigger in Chicago. They have alderman system. we're not going to have an alderman system, but we can have a community outreach coordinator for different sections of the city. So that way they can go, their entire job is to interact with as much people as possible. And there's a system in place to record that they're knocking, they're getting imperative data, they're able to get the feedbacks. And what typically happens is, it's just like canvassing. When I canvass,
they're supposed to bring the information back to the commission, to the commissioners, so they can see what it is, the issues they want to address. Okay.
100%. Because if we want to do an advisory board meeting, we can. But again, I attended the advisory board meeting. I've been a former chair. They're not showing up. Okay. But those community outreach coordinators can work in collaboration with existing advisory boards. And ideally, we would have a preference to hire within the city limit. So if an individual lives in Central Miramar, ideally we would like that community outreach coordinator to be from Central Miramar, right? If their particular section is in that area. Same thing for West Miramar, same thing for East Miramar. But the point of the matter is that we need to be able to put a gap, because we literally have a gap.
And is the gap with the entire, no matter if you're like East, Central, West, or is the gap more that people out East don't have enough connection with folks in the commission, or with the mayor? Are the folks living out East in more need to communicate than the other part, or it's not? You don't see a difference.
It's actually both, right? And what you can look at to show you that there's a gap, right? Or is the fact that there's an election going on and people were not aware. Kid me not. I knocked on people's door. I'm Rudy Sango Theo from. They said, who? I said, there's an election. They said, what? People are not aware.
But that was happening during in 2020 when there was a presidential election. People ain't know that there was an election. But there's I'm like,
talking about the presidential election?
I'm the annoying one on the show, right?
No,
so because for real, because some of what's going on, and plus I teach college students, so I know they're in their bubble in terms of what they want to know is what's happening in this world, right? So they literally can exist in this space and not pay attention to like what's happening, because all their information is coming from the TikTok video, the Instagram, to this. Yeah. So you really can close out your world from what's happening. Like I don't watch local news, so half the time I don't even know what's happening around. Like I read my news, so I'll get to know stuff. But some of those other stories that happen in local news, I don't know, because I don't watch it, because I think they focus too much on the crime factor, and it's just disturbing to my soul, so I don't watch it. So I'll read some stuff to kind of keep up on the major stuff, but I don't watch it. So I can see how someone doesn't know an election is happening, because they can create their own world and consume the information that they want to consume without even having to deal with everything else.
How about this?
Okay.
Could you believe how many people, if we did a survey in regards to how many people who was not aware of the mayor, on top of that, there's some people who are not even aware of where City Hall was located. Mm-hmm. Like if I do a TikTok, and I think I'm gonna do a TikTok, it's gonna and it's not a lack of intelligence or things of that nature. There's just a disconnect. And the reason is the city is too big. This city was just a bunch of.
I don't know if it's the city being too big. I think it's just that people know what they want to know. Like, and it's just some things that you can find, like some of the most people that have access to all kind of information and be informed, and you call them, ask them who their commissioner. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know when the election's at. They don't know where city all that, because they don't have to go there. So I own a place in Dania Beach, and I didn't find out about City Hall until when the place collapsed in Surfside, and they had to redo all those condo certification, and they sent me some letter talking about, like, you better go show us that you did the upgrades to this unit or else. I didn't never go to no City Hall in Dania Beach because I never had to. I just bought the place from the realtor, and that was the end of it. So what I'm saying is that it's not necessarily like the commissioner's fault or the mayor's fault or whatever. People don't know, and I can probably tell you some of the elected officials in Dania Beach. I can't tell you all of them. I don't know them all.
You live in Miramar. You live in Miramar. You're politically in tune, so it'll be a unique situation. So, for example, that individual, what's his name is, I can't pronounce it. It's Guy. I'll just say G. So G goes by G as well. When the pipes happened, he called the city hall like most people do, and it was just like, oh yeah, these you probably want to switch up your pipe, something of that nature. Paid $25,000 out of pocket, was not aware that there was $10,000 available for him.
Mhm.
Now, of course, they're not covering all the expense, but I think it's imperative for people to know.
Yeah.
I rest assured that most people that I interact with, they don't know. And once they know, because voting has a lot to do with a belief system. I really talk to youth, and the only way I can encourage them to vote is to make them believe. If they're not sold in the candidate, they're not going to vote. And then it's not just for them to vote one time, like what Obama was able to do effectively through marketing. It's about getting that young individual to go back to the ballot, knowing their precinct, and being somewhat aware. So I think that's the biggest thing. I've worked for a firm that was dumping money, right? And they had one mission. They said, look, we need Black people to register to vote. That's all they need. And they give you all that money. And you have to do research, some things to that effect. And I told the firm, I said, look, man, the youth don't vote for a particular reason. I said, if you look at your candidates, it explains why they don't vote. I said 9 times out of 10, I wouldn't vote for these guys. So you have to be an individual who is down to earth. You got to be real. You can play politics. You can tell stories. You can walk around with a suit and tie. You can act stuck up. You can think you're better than thou. It doesn't resonate with the working class family.
And they may not need to, because people win elections here with 5,000 votes. So you don't need to get a whole bunch.
So that goes back.
You don't need to get a whole bunch of people to vote for you in order for you to win. I've seen the results. I've seen the results. People win with 5,000 votes.
But think about it. Out of a population of 141,000 people, when 5,000 people are voting and there's about 80,000 people that's registered to vote, what does that say about that 75,000?
It says a lot, but the person only needs 5,000 people to vote for them so they can win.
And in my viewpoint, I believe that if you're that individual, if you're that guy, right? If you are able to measure success, to me, it's to increase the amount of people to vote. And why would they vote? They will vote if they said, yo, I believe in this individual. I like what's going on. So I'm going to vote to maintain that individual. It's 100% true. The percentile, you can look at county from county and you see, I can predict some elections, I'll say 90% of them based on registration. I had a bet and I told somebody who was going to be governor. They said, how you know? I said, I looked at the registered votes. Oh yeah, but they're going to register. I said, no, they didn't talk. They didn't make noise. They registered a vote and they're going to win. Oh, Rudy, and it happened. I predicted virtually every race. I'm not the smartest guy on the face of the planet. I just looked at the data, and the data says everything. I'm very data oriented. The data speaks louder than words. If 5,000 people are voting out of 80,000 people or 85,000 people, what does it say about that 75,000 to 80,000 people that could vote? And what does it say about their belief in the political process, their belief in the city?
So the candidate don't want to know about what it say. They want to know how they can get some of them to vote so they could get 5,001 votes to win. So,
but then that's the problem, because if our mission is just to get in, just to vote, just to get that vote in, just to get in the office, that's the biggest thing with politics. When I go on the east side and I talk to some of the rosters, they hate politicians.
But they also vote. Okay, so listen. All right, so I'm not trying to have an elitist moment. I'm gonna preface my statement by trying to say that I'm not trying to have an elitist moment.
She doesn't have an elitist bone in her body.
But out east, I went to a bunch of elite schools, but college, not undergrad. I'm straight hood 305 Miami Edison. But what I'm saying, out east, they vote for a person who I don't see come to panels to talk about anything. But that person consistently wins and drags everybody. So what is that saying about the folks out east? They continue to elect an individual, and I don't want to call no names, because I don't want to get none of that smoke. But what I'm saying is that they consistently vote for an individual who doesn't even come to panels to talk to the community. So
I know who you're referring to.
I know you know who I'm talking about, because everybody know who I'm talking about without me calling no names. Consistently wins, but don't see him hardly nowhere.
So
Well, I don't know. Maybe they have to see them somewhere, but I don't know.
Believe it, that individual still interacts with that individual has their base and they interact with their base. I promise you, go against that individual. The reason why you're going to lose is because
you're going to lose, and everybody lose. They don't lose bad.
Know more about that individual, but what I'll say is this: that individual does have their base. I'll say their base, right? And what you just said is you exactly made my point. That individual is just playing the number game to get in. They don't have to show up because it's a game. The person with the most points win the game. And that individual knows this, right? The person with the most points win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a mindset of, oh, I just need to get the most points and I win the game, I don't have to do nothing else, life is beautiful. And this is the reason why
But it's
important, because I believe it's important to interact with as much people as possible. Because if we did had enough people aware, trust me, I kid you not, I've seen people win against this individual and lost a few times. I know,
like the last time it was 5 people in the race. You could have calculated all of the votes of the other 4. They still wasn't going to win. You know what I mean? It was bad.
They lost combined.
All combined. They didn't even come close to how that person won.
Because that individual still has a base. I actually saw that individual.
I see him too. I do some work for him. Yeah. So I see him too, and I'm like, okay.
So, but that goes back to the point of the matter, right? So you're exactly making my point. So this individual knows the game. They got the points. They get in and they do what? Nothing.
I didn't say they don't do nothing.
No, I'm okay.
They don't campaign.
They don't need a campaign. They pretty much won before they won because they got their base. They got a solid base and they do their thing, right? Whereas for me, I'm a people's person. I believe everyone matter. Every voice should be heard. Like yesterday when I talked to the owner of SJ Caribbean Cuisine, I really felt bad, right? Because I felt bad because I was like, wow, like you need to at least join the Miramar Chamber of Commerce, right? Remember, because you need to get the promotion. Like this is not, we have another restaurant, same thing. We had another restaurant. I go Joe Pot, and it's like it's the same thing. And the reoccurring thing that I realized, because I'm pretty big on math and trends, was everyone who said the same thing were small. So the small business didn't get any love. They didn't get any love. And it's already rough. And we do anticipate the economy to head left. So it's going to be even more tougher. So they need to be able to scale and do what they can now because we don't know the direction of the economy.
Yeah.
The small business not getting love.
Okay.
When I go and I talk to families, there's certain people who just feel like they're being left behind.
Okay.
And I, for one, will talk to everyone. I'm the only person who will talk to the left, the right, the middle. I don't care. If you live in my city, talk to me. You don't have to love me. You can hate me. You can criticize me, but your voice should be heard. Okay. I want you to go to City Hall. I want you to say it publicly.
I hear you. I thank you. But I want to interrupt, but we make things go too long, and I kind of want to avoid that. I really should have sent you a separate link, and we should have done your interview separate from the last one. So I apologize for that. I should have just created a whole nother setup, and your interview would have been separate. But what I will do is we'll cut the tape, so we'll make it 2 tapes in editing afterwards. But the lighting thing that you talked about at East, the lighting is a thing. Like all over the place. I think that the government decided that they don't want to pay these electric bills no more, and lighting is an issue. I remember when I was a kid growing up, we used to make sure we got in the house when the street lights came on, right? And the street lights were bright enough that you could feel safe and still see. Nowadays, no matter where you go, it's like, is there a bulb in this thing? I think it's a thing that government just decided because it's too, like, to me, obvious that they're not. Either there aren't enough lampposts, the lights aren't bright enough to make a difference. So that's the thing. Even in the community that I live out west, when I turn in, my what they call it, the bright lights come on because the street is too dark. So the lighting is, the lighting issue out east is a lighting issue that we have too. Now I live close to the big park and the hospital, so they have lights there. But once I turn in to get near my street, my bright lights come on because the street in and of itself is just dark. So that lighting is a whole thing. I want to know, like, why is it that do we need to hire more police? Because I hate that solving problems by more police. Like, I don't like, conceptually, I don't like the idea. But what can you do to make the people on the east side of town feel safer? You know what I mean? Do they want more police, or what is it that they need in that community in order for them to feel safer?
Yes.
And then, so that's my one question. And the one thing that when you said about you saw a group of children hanging out, that type of thing, I know, like, when I was growing up, the parks were places where you can go. My brother learned tennis in a park, went to college on a tennis scholarship, and my mother didn't have to pay for none of that, right? Because, she couldn't afford it. Like, my kid does activities here, but I have to pay for everything. I have to pay for the PAL, I have to pay for the after school, I have to pay for all of this stuff. So what is it that we can do to have a place for these young kids to go so they're not hanging out in a plaza or whatever, and particularly if parents can't afford to pay for everything, because you have to pay for everything now. Like, the travel teams have literally taken over. Even if you're doing something at the park, it might be cheap, but you still got to pay for it. And some people can't afford it. And even if you pay for it, you got to be able to, because they ain't going to let the kid go themselves. The parent got to take them, drop it off, stay with them when they're there. What is it that, so there's a whole bunch of different social things that are going on that's causing these kids to be hanging outside, besides the fact that their parents, don't care about them and don't know. A lot of the stuff is just, you can't afford it. So what can the city do to kind of help that and balance out that cost to give these young men and women something to do so they aren't hanging out at the plaza, in the afternoon
and that's a great
evening.
So first of all, I don't think that I never believe that the children are bad. I always believe that the children are a reflection of the community in the household. So I don't believe in bad behavior. I counsel young Black boys, and in my 39 years of living, and in my 10 to 15 years of talking to these young boys, I never met someone between here, Memphis, Chicago, you name it, that was bad. I never met someone that's bad. You sit down with a police officer, I said, bring me the worst of your worst, and they're like, well, Shango, are you sure? I said, bring, and I break them down. We have a conversation and we build. And I'm always able to see that if you think that they're bad, what happened to them was bad. They are a reflection of what happened to them, So I know the trauma that these young Black boys go through. I've been through my share of hell myself, so I understand that. In terms of providing affordable resources, now I partner with a few organizations. I actually have an organization myself, and the objective of my organization is to ensure that we can have a strong and healthy family dynamic. So we have our resources available, and it won't be for everyone, right? So we're limited. So even if we raise a certain amount of money, we can't cover every single child, right? So every single student, we don't necessarily have the funds. Yes, we could try to coordinate with state and federal to get additional funding and private partners. So there's a possibility that we can gain more, but for the time being, we don't have all the resources, but we do have some available. And I like to partner with other organizations. I still partner with the Circle of Brotherhood. I'm still a member of the Circle of Brotherhood. We got an amazing church, a cool church, which I definitely need to talk to that pastor. Like, what he is doing with the high school, it's amazing. This brother and his wife are emblematic of we need more churches and religious institutions operating like this. This is what we need. We need more faith-based organizations to operate like that, to operate as not just a place for spiritual nourishment, but also to operate as a community outreach outlet. And this is what I'm big on. I'm big on operating with that. When it comes to network, I always say, I talk to everybody. I'm not pro-Democrat, pro-Republican, I'm pro-Miramar. Why? Because when it's time for me to get the necessary funding, I will advocate. I will go to whomever, and I will sit down with them, and I'll say, what can you bring to Miramar? How can you put us in a position where we're better off today for tomorrow, right? So that's my biggest thing, to network with them. Now, the city budget has been adopted. In terms of getting additional funding, I don't want to make that decision prematurely. I would have to actually review everything. We have to see, because it'll be false pretense for me to say, yeah, we should just take an additional $3 million and invest in it. Whereas I could look for different ways of getting the funding, because I'm big on finding other places to get money. I'm big on that, and I'm big on doing more with less. My campaign, I said, listen, I plan to raise $7,000 and run for the city. What? Yes, I'm very fiscal. I know how to save money. That's one thing. That's one thing my fiance love about me. I will make more. I'll save more and have less, and that's the same mentality to get as much money as possible without utilizing the city budget. I do not. I want to strive to the best of my ability to abstain from utilizing the city budget.
All right. So what about the policing issue for out east? How do we make them feel? How do we make that community feel safer?
So we got pretty much 178 police officers for a population of 141,000 people. Believe it or not, that's pretty good on the national average. So it's not bad. I know people hear the numbers, they're like, what? But in my viewpoint, the training with the police officers, because the interaction that I've witnessed thus far have been positive. I know there was one situation on the east side when I served as chair, when something happened to someone, and someone sent me a video. They said they're scared. They'll send me the video. I said, I'm not scared. Send me the video. I'll go to Internal Affairs and we'll resolve that. So the video clip came of it looks like someone was pinned on the ground, and just based on the initial clip that I received, it looks like the police officer were overly aggressive. Then afterwards, there was some investigation, and I saw the clip in its entirety, and it changed it because someone else recorded the entire clip in its entirety, and it changed the whole trajectory of what I was watching. Right. When it comes to police officers, I like to be cut and dry. I'm gonna be what we say the front street. I know that there's good cops and I know that there's bad cops. When it comes to bad cops, I have zero tolerance. None. Now I'm an individual who, in Pompano, I was in my office in Pompano where I had a police officer who thought I fit a subject because I had my sweatsuit on, and pull a gun at me, and to the point where I thought I was gonna die, right? And I put my hand up, and he's telling me to put my music down, but I teach my young brothers to leave your hand up. I instruct them. I said, whatever happens, leave your hand up. If that's a police officer, backup will follow. So I had my hand up, and he pointed the gun at me, and he told me to put the radio down. And I said, no, I'm not going to put my hand down. We're not going to show me putting my hand down, right? And so I'll wait for backup. Backup came. By the time backup came, he unlocked the door. He had me on the ground, laying on my stomach, right? This is a BSO officer. And I was just thinking when my hand was up, Rudy Shingo Theophane, you have a vision for your life. You have a vision for your family. And you, like every other brother who have to go through this, you could have died at that point. Could have died. I had other people calling me. I remember that was election season for Sheriff Tony. So I let it go. I didn't want to make a fuss because I'm like, look, I don't want to intervene with an election. If it was not election season, it would be a whole different story. I have some friends. It would be a whole different story. We'll just put it like that. But essentially, when the other cops came, the other BSO officers came, there was other ones that came. They're like, you can't do that. You can't have him on his stomach. We don't even know if this is a suspect. The other one came, got me up. The other ones were extremely nice, right? And one of them saw my card. They said, who are you? I said, I'm Rudy Shingo Theophane. Because I remember I told that officer, I said, I'm Rudy Shingo Theophane. I can get in contact with your boss. And he was like, I don't care who you know. He was talking like Tupac. I was like, okay, cool, tough guy. But long story short, the other officer, he looks at my card. He's like, wow. Yeah, I think he really this is Rudy Shingo Theophane. End up taking my phone. It's like literally called my HR to come downstairs. The person came, identified me as not being their boyfriend who robbed them for their change or whatever the case may be. And it was just one of those incidents where I know what it means to go through that. You know, like when you're a black male and you get
it happens to black females too. I'm just letting you know.
Black females.
It happens to black
no,
women
no,
too.
No gender war, please.
Okay.
No gender war. But it's different when you're behind that wheel, because it's one thing seeing it, and especially when you're not accustomed to. You know, I'm big on keeping my composure, but especially when you're not accustomed to it. You're not accustomed to it. You know, so sometimes when you look at the way we behave, the way we react, it's not that we want to be abrasive. We're just not accustomed. We don't know. There's not a script to this. You got a gun pointed in your head. You can literally lose your life if you do the wrong thing. You know, so there's an organization, which I don't want to say their name until after the election, that actually work with police officers. And I want them to be part of our city, one way or another. I want them to work in collaboration with Miramar Police Department in order to help facilitate a training to help them in regards to interacting with the community, right? Because like what I saw with the fight, it was amazing, because they did a great job. That was an example of a great job. They literally diffused the situation. There's people fighting. There's even parents fighting. So I'm not necessarily at this moment advocating for more police officers. At this moment, I really want to make sure that we take care of the ones that we currently have. And if the budget does permit us to add more police officers, by all means, you know. But again, I just want to reiterate the point. I have zero tolerance for bad cops. Not people getting into some type of situation, you know, not, you know, someone taking a cell phone and try to paint a narrative. I mean, where they have no way, it makes no sense what they're doing. You know, I'm not a punk. I am not a punk.
Just to clarify, Shango, if you allow me to call you Shango, because I like that name. Just to clarify, so you want to put more training and into the police officers you currently have. You do not want to kind of exacerbate the police officers you do have. To add on, but if you can, you will, and that will help the people in Miramar East. Is that what you're trying? You want some sort of, are you planning on trying to do a community thing where they get together and they collaborate and work with the community and be like visible and not only for problems, but just to be in the community? Is that what
Listen, we have something that's similar to that, but I want to bring back B cops, man, having the cops on their bikes. You know, having on the bike saying hi. You should know who your police officer is. You know, I always say it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, because we want to make this a neighbor. So when that cop see you more than once and you get into trouble, they're more lenient. They're like, okay, listen, we know you by name. You know, that's something that's very important, having face recognition and bringing back the neighborhood. You know, we just have hoods, but we lost the neighbors. I want to bring the neighbors back in the hood. So wherever you live in the city, there's no hoods. It's just neighborhood. Let's bring the neighbors back in the hood. That's all I'm asking for.
All right, thank you. So it sounds, I suspect you got the $7,000 you was going to use for your campaign. So I need to know, what do you need from the people? How is it they can help you if you need their help in order for you to make this dream of yours a reality?
Man, money is, let me tell you something, man. The money situation is so rough. I'm not going to say the name of the bank that we have for the campaign, because they may be a partner in the future, but I'll tell you one thing. When I've been getting these checks, it's been taking forever for it to clear. So I'm just like, what's going on? Because I was just like, let me just get these checks.
They making sure that money ain't come from no foreigner. You know what I'm saying? They gotta go through and make sure
it's that particular
these checks
bank.
not from China.
No. It's that particular bank. Because I didn't even know until like I did a commercial earlier today, and my friend who was doing the commercial, he said, yo, Shango, man, you know that bank, you know, they like hold. I was like, they like the what? Hold. I was like, why didn't you tell me this before I opened it for the campaign? Like, I'm going through pain. I literally, because me, I bank with Wells Fargo. I'm saying that loud and proud. That's one of my main banks. One of my banks is Wells Fargo. And I tell you, when I put the check, I scan the check, the money's available. You know, if they hold.
And they also tell you if somebody gives you a bad check too, because somebody gave me a check that had no money on it, and I tried to deposit that mug, and Wells Fargo spit that mug back out like, yo, this ain't got no money.
I'll take that L. But the people that, you know, that have been giving me money.
So Wells Fargo is good. That, I mean, in that sense, but people got other criticism, but that part of it, they're okay.
Wells Fargo is solid. Whenever I take my checks from my tenants and I put it in Wells Fargo, you know, I had a situation too when the check was bad. They're like, oh, the money's not there yet. Then don't get the check. By the time you give me the check, I'm scanning it. You think I'm going to the bank? I don't walk to the banks. I use technology. I scan it and I upload it. You know, so unfortunately, because of that, it's been a delay. And then I had another nightmare because, you know, my assistant who actually had set up the PayPal, you know, she set it up. I'm like, okay, we tested, it was good to go. But the only catch-22 is we had to set it up to actually capture people's information. So now we're getting donations and I can't even put it in an account or utilize it because we have to identify who gave
sent the money.
Yeah, to report it. And so I may end up, if I can't identify this, be in a situation where I'm gonna have to cancel transactions.
Just reverse it back.
Hopefully I'll be able to. But I never had any intentions of raising a lot of money for the campaign. I don't know. I hear people say, "You must be crazy." There's someone who's yelling at me, "You must be crazy. You don't want to raise money for a campaign." I do want to raise money for my campaign, but in my viewpoint, I'm not trying to buy the election. Mm-hmm. If I wanted to buy an election, you know, I belong to a fraternity, which is global fraternity. I would ask everyone in my fraternity for money if I wanted to, and put it in an account, right? And it would have been simple to do.
Go ahead and shout out your frat, brother.
It's not a college frat, so I won't shout it out.
Okay,
but
all right.
Know about Village Lodge 315.
Okay.
But my viewpoint was to make sure that I'm able to talk to as much people as possible. I want to canvas. I want to know your issue. I want you to get mad and take my flyers and throw it because you're frustrated because because come on election day. I love when I get the raw uncut because I walk by myself. I'm from the hood, so like it's nothing you're gonna do to me. I'm not scared of people, and I shouldn't be running for office, and I am. So it's really interesting when I knock on people's doors and I get the funniest questions. I try not to laugh, and sometimes people they have like a mindset of they're like, because I'm Haitian American background, so they're like, you're trying to take a Jamaican seat. I said, listen, man, my woman's Jamaican. I got a house in Jamaica. Like, my in-laws, I have the best mother-in-law on the face of the planet. She's Jamaican. I love her so much, and my father-in-law. I mean, I'm really blessed to be in the family that I'm in. So like I don't see race and creed and whatnot. I have a very diverse friendships, and that to me is very important. It goes a long way. I believe in the Jamaican motto, out of many, one people. And that's how I view Miramar. And I know sometimes we have some issues on the West Side pertaining to, our racial issues. And I know, and I hear it, and I know, and I hear it. And trust me, people talk to me and they'll say things. And there's stereotypes that people, have, and I try to reiterate, listen, I'm not running as the Haitian candidate. I'm just running as a candidate, right? And I'm here to serve everyone. Someone said, don't make this a little Haiti Junior. That's all we're asking. And I'm like, I'm not gonna make it a little Haiti Junior.
Little Haiti.
It's already a Kingston area, child. And the Haitian Jamaican mix is a good mix.
Listen,
Jamaican, so it's already little Kingston over there.
I don't subscribe to
that. The Tarrant County Commission is not Jamaican. There's a Panamanian on there that most people don't know, but yeah, so it's not.
Well, be Jamaican the way she moved. She moved like she just part
Jamaican. My understanding is so she still got a little Jamaican in it.
You got a little Jamaican in a child.
So it's just, to me, like I don't govern that way, and I think we're diverse, and I celebrate our diversity, and I think there's a beauty in that, and that's something that is key. My biggest thing is that every voice should be heard. Like when I bring up the East Indian community, I didn't know we had East Indians in our city. Like
I didn't know that either. Did you know that, Sandra?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Because your city's the bomb.com.
Yeah, so
it is all day.
We had a pocket of East Indians. And I wouldn't know this unless I canvassed. Like I may see someone, one or two, but I didn't know that there was like a little pocket of community until I knocked on a door. There's still like the level of diversity is just, and they'll say things to me like, listen, we want, I wish you celebrate this holiday more and this and that. We have groups of Muslims as well as Jewish. So it's just like, I want to make sure that we can celebrate everyone. So I want to work with diversity committees to ensure Everyone is heard, whether it's one of you or 10,000 of you. You should be heard. No one should be by themselves.
All right, thank you. Shout out that website. So you don't want them to send money to the bank that don't clear checks?
Yeah, I mean, I need your money. I do need your money. So I do
What do you
need
want us
money.
to do?
So the website is rudy4miramar.com. You can go to the PayPal to send your money. And again, the election is actually, I can tell you the election date is March 14. 2023 is around the corner. Okay,
Yeah.
so definitely feel free to reach me. I said I am listening because I am listening, but more importantly, I have my phone. I'm willing to answer any questions or concern. I know sometimes people don't like the answer that I give them, but I'm gonna give you my truth, right? And
so is it Rudy 4 FOR or the number 4?
Oh, the number 4. I'm sorry. So it's Rudy, the number 4 Miramar.com. Right? And yeah, and please feel free to reach out to me. Call me. I have a rule between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. I will answer your phone call after 10 p.m. That's time for me and my fiance and my family. So I don't pick up. You can send a text message, or you can send me an email at vote4RudyTheophane. Number 4, vote4RudyTheophane@gmail.com. All right. But more importantly, as I always say, don't hope. Get out and vote, baby.
And vote.
And vote, yes.
Right down.
I like that. I
Mr.
like
Watts,
that.
baby. Mr. 2 Watts. The time is of the essence, baby.
Yep, I like
Thank
that.
you so
Don't
much.
hold it down.
And like I said, we're gonna split the video, and then we'll upload your part of the interview separate from the one so it won't be the whole thing. The whole thing will be up now, but then we're gonna break it up and have 2 separate videos and post it, and then we'll tag you in it, and then you can share it on your page too.
Did I spell Miramar correctly? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
And you got to put his email, vote for
RudyTheophane@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Vote.
The number
4. Vote the number 4.
Rudy, RUDY.
Mm-hmm.
Last name is T as in Tango, H Henry, E Edward, O Oscar, P Paul, H Henry, I Indigo, and Nancy.
And Nancy?
N as in
so Theophane. It ends with
Theophane.
At gmail.com.
I'm Haitian, man. The French.
At Gmail.
Man.
It's like Acomercial Gmail.com.
Theophile. This is
Theophine. Oh, okay.
It's Theophane.
Theophane or Theophine?
Theophane.
With the N.
Oh. How come they don't never pronounce the I-N?
Not me teaching Haitian Creole. Oh my goodness gracious. Too much today.
And you got all the skills.
Yep. All right.
You need to say 8 a.m. to, the email is after hours, and the calls are like from 8 to
4. Yeah,
4.
you can email me whenever, because I'm not going to answer after 10.
Right.
I mean, whatever, but
you got to put something for the family now.
Yeah, because I've been losing a lot of money campaigning. I tell you, it's very expensive. Like, I haven't been managing my business. I have to pay someone to actually manage my business, so I'm not even getting a salary while I'm doing it. So,
right.
Good thing I'm cheap.
You about the people.
Man, it's work, man. It's for the love, man. It's for the love.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
You can't buy that.
We appreciate you
hung out a lot. You hung out with us for real. I thought it was gonna be 30 minutes. We spent the hour together with you.
Listen,
appreciate the passion and the vision that you have for the city.
Yep.
Yeah, we have faith and we got to put in work, man. Because
absolutely.
And there's things that broke my heart, man. When I see these young brothers, man, they're my sons.
And some of that is with the school thing. So one of the things I talk about before is, like, especially for the folks that are trying to go to the House and in the Senate, Florida House, Florida Senate. I'm like, yo, get that a lotto money back into these schools. Because when I was in school, we had all kind of after school programs. They had like band, all kind of, like different clubs and stuff like that. They're not there. They don't have them.
They don't have band.
No, they've cut everything. Like my high school, so we used to have the band, and then like they would go to the games. So now if the school wants to go to the game, they have to raise the money to get a bus to take the band to the football games to play for the school. That was not the case when I was in high school, but that's the case now. So the schools have lost a lot of funding.
You said you went to Edison too, right?
I went to Miami Edison, Red Raider all day.
Red Raider too, yeah.
Okay. I'm sure I graduated before you though.
You always gotta throw that in.
39.
You always gotta throw
I
that in.
don't look it, but I did.
You don't look it, and stop throwing it in there to make people question.
Yeah, no.
It's okay for them.
What year did you get out? You might know one of my younger brothers, but I think they're younger than.
39. So what was that? 2001. Let me do the math.
No, you don't even know my youngest brother because he was class of 97.
Oh, not 97. No.
But you might know him though. He was probably there when you were there the last year.
Listen, man, I've Edison. We kind of know everybody. Like
So I'm getting inducted into the Hall of Fame on March 25th. You should buy a ticket and come.
March 25th.
Yeah, they're gonna put me in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm.
Of Edison. I mean,
yes,
my classmate John Perrette. He's the one who actually is the president of the
Alumni Association.
Yeah, Alumni Association for our class. Okay. So yeah. I mean, I'm down. I may be able to come.
Check it out. You know, or at least put an ad for your business in the program for the.
I actually want to do a little more for Edison. We've gone a long way.
All right, so I don't think Facebook want to hear what we talk about now. So thank you all for watching.
All right, guys, but thank you very much for your time.
No, we can talk after. We just go end the show. We can talk after. We just got to end the show.
Talk to you guys.
All right, play the commercial. Bye-bye.